Welcome back, fifth grade. Today, we're going to add a little bit more information to our notebooks regarding the Punic Wars. Now, the questions you see on this slide are the answers from what you've already sent me before. So we're not going to spend too much time on this today, but we are going to spend time on this mapping it activity. Okay, so all of this stuff that you see right now is what we're going to really spend the most time on today and add to our notebooks. But this first couple of bits is just a review of these questions to make sure that you had the right information. Okay, so the first one, who was Rome's main enemy during the Punic Wars? That would be Carthage, which I'm going to show you on the map here in a second. Number two, how did this enemy, Carthage, become wealthy? Like most of you all told me, they became very wealthy through trade. And again, based on their location, you're going to see why they had a lot of areas in which they could trade with. Number three, about how many years did the Punic Wars last? Now, all three of the Punic Wars is what that's talking about. So, if you read into the details, it's actually nearly 120 years. Some people just looked at the first Punic War, which is about 20 years. Okay, so if you add up all of them, or if you read how many years total, it was 120. So, it's a long time. Number four, what event started the First Punic War? Well, what event starts the First Punic War is when the Carthaginians try to take over the island of Sicily, which the Romans kind of considered their own land. I'll show you it on the map here in a second, but that island of Sicily is basically the big starting point for number four. All right, number five, what key innovation did the Romans add to their warships? Many of you all found this, and the innovation was actually kind of a movable bridge that the Romans could use to take from their boat and get onto the boats of the Carthaginians. So it was almost like a walking bridge or a little ladder so they could walk across it to get to the other boats and attack them that way. Okay, number six. What five valuable resources were found in Spain at this time? The five valuable resources were silver, copper, gold, lead, and iron. All of them obviously are precious metals used for different things. Number seven, who was the greatest general from Carthage? The greatest general from Carthage is Hannibal. And number eight, what animals did Hannibal use to try to attack Rome? Well, the animal were elephants, which we're going to talk about again here in a second, but unfortunately wasn't very successful. But at least they look cool. Number nine, in what year did the Third Punic War take place? The Third Punic War took place in 146 BC. So that's the very specific year that it took place. All right. Now, again, that was just a review of some stuff that you guys already sent me the answers to the other day. But we're going to go ahead here and we're going to talk about what all needs to happen in your notebook with this Punic Wars mapping it activity. All right. So let's start from scratch. First things first. You're going to want to take a notebook page, probably a whole notebook page or at least a half a notebook page, and you're going to want to copy the basic outline of the map. Now, when I say the basic outline, I mean be easy on yourself, okay? I mean kind of this green area, including Italy, about here-ish. You can just throw Northern Africa down here at the bottom, and obviously the Mediterranean Sea is across the middle. You don't have to color it in green or blue or anything like that if you don't want to. You can just leave it blank or you just use pen or pencil and that's fine. But you do need to have some kind of a basic outline here of the area so that all of this stuff makes a lot more sense. Okay? So, to start, all of these colors are going to coincide with these arrows that are down here. Okay? And these circles. But what I want to start with is these two stars right here and right here. Okay, so let's imagine that you've already done kind of the basic outline of all the land masses and stuff like that. Maybe you put Mediterranean Sea across the middle. This pink star represents the city of Rome. So you can see right here, today it's the current entire country of Italy, this whole boot looking thing. But Rome is right here. And the city of Carthage is this very tip of northern Africa, this purple star here. So now you know who's involved here. So you have Rome is the pink star and Carthage is the purple star. So let's start going through and we're going to map exactly like I've done right here the results and kind of the goings on of the three Punic Wars. Now, one thing I want to add to this is somewhere on your notebook page, you want to physically add this information as well. Okay, so when you're all done, your page is going to look very similar to mine. It's going to have a map on it with some different arrows, circles, stars. And again, you don't have to use the same colors, but I would definitely make them different from one another. And then you definitely have a definition up here, or kind of a what happened for the first, second, and third Punic Wars. Okay, so you're going to need the actual in-word stuff. All right, so let's get through the first one very quick. We already discussed it. It was a battle over Sicily, because this area was claimed by Roman Empire, and the Carthaginians kind of came over here and decided they wanted to take it over, and Rome, of course, was not really happy about that. So after the First Punic War, basically Rome wins it back. Okay, so that's why I have this red circle here and this red explanation to kind of go together with the same color. So that island of Sicily right there is all what the First Punic War is about. All right. The second one is a little complicated, so you're going to have to hang with me, but I actually have two colors here. I have the white color and the yellow color. And these arrows, again, go hand in hand with what's up here in words. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, so the Second Punic War is going to break out, obviously, as a result from the end of the First Punic War. So obviously, Carthage was not super happy about losing this first one. So here's what they're going to do. All right, so let's start in Carthage. They are going to boat over to their colonies over in what is now Spain, and they're going to go through what is now modern day France. Back then they called it Gaul. And their idea was, okay, we're going to go over the Alps mountains, which are right about here, and we're going to travel and we're going to kind of sneak attack the Romans from the north. Okay, so what they do is, again, they travel from their home place of Carthage, they get over to Spain. We've already mentioned they get all these elephants from somewhere, so they get their elephants, they get all their men, and they head over through Gaul, and they're heading through the Alps mountains. And as some of you all read, they're not really successful. A lot of the men die, pretty much all the elephants die while passing through the mountains, but they still have a pretty big fighting force to get into Rome, and they actually win. So that's what I have for the first part. Carthage travels through Spain and through the Alps, and they actually kind of win temporarily. All right, now here's the next step of the Second War. The Romans are clearly not happy about that. So, kind of at the same time, Rome, which again is right here, decides to kind of backtrack, and they decide to go attack Spain, where these Carthaginians have already been. And they actually decide to go directly to Carthage and attack it themselves. Okay, so again, this whole process is Carthage thinks they're going to sneak over here and sneak around the backside and come through the north, and they kind of win for the time being. But Rome's like, nah, I don't think so. We're going to attack you guys over here in your colonies in Spain. We're going to attack you right here in Carthage. And that's kind of the result of why I put really win. Because the Romans, by the end of the Second Punic War, they actually really, really, really win the whole thing. Okay, and last but not least, third, Rome is still going to see Carthage as an enemy. Even though Carthage has pretty much been beat up by this point, Rome still sees them as an enemy. So Rome is going to basically repeat something they did in the Second War, and they're going to pretty much go back to Carthage and destroy it pretty much altogether. So Rome is going to attack Carthage, pretty much flatten the place. And while they're at it, they're going to go over here and they're going to start messing with the Greeks. Now, the Greeks are not as powerful as they once were when we were talking about them before in our Greek unit, but they're still pretty powerful. So they're going to attack Greece over here, and long term, they're going to do pretty well, and they're going to pretty much take over Greece as well. So you can see where this is going. Rome pretty much owns all of this, and they're going to own all of this, and then they're pretty much going to get this whole swath over here in the east pretty soon. Okay, so to wrap this up, again, what I want to see from you all when you send me your email, or a lot of y'all have been sending me the pictures of your notebook, things like that, I want to see this information at the top, and I want to see your own interpretation, your recreation of all the events that are going on in the map down here, because that's why the thing's called Map It to begin with in the first place. All right. So Once again, what I'm looking for is this stuff and this stuff kind of in our own way. And like always, I hope you guys are staying safe, being well, and keeping busy. All right, I'll talk to you all soon. Bye bye.